we're on to Extra Course 3. Extra Course 3 has some pretty interesting holes to it, though I'm pretty sure that's not the color of the course. Did you see? It was yellow on the course select screen and now it's purple. It's kind of strange. I don't think that was the case in the regular mode, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since then. The first hole is an interesting spin on the original hole. You remember that trampoline off to the left that we thought was useless? Well, I thought it was useless. Nah, they were going to use it in the extra course. It's because, you know, if you take a chip shot at that flying enemy, then you basically have no choice but to use backspin to get all the way back up. Pretty interesting jump regardless. And we can bounce into the squishy enemy here. And from there, it's a straight shot to the hole. Pretty easy. You do have to kind of figure out how to play it efficiently, because otherwise you might think that you're supposed to get the flying enemy last, which would be... maybe you could do that with only 2 shots, actually, but I prefer the fancier method. Now, hole 2 is another story entirely. This hole, coming up, requires you to... See, it's the same as the previous hole, of course, but it's in reverse now. We're starting on this end, and we have to get past all those conveyor belts to get those 2 enemies. Well, the solution is pretty cool, I think. You have to realize that the red warps don't change your direction, they don't affect your spin, you keep all your speed. So yeah, we use a top spin shot. And knowing where we're going to end up, because you know where the other red warp is, we end up in a pretty good spot, I'd say. Could have been a lot better. I could have made it closer to the needle enemy. Now, here's where a problem arises, because all that green space is going to push me over to the left. So I have to be very careful with this shot, and unfortunately, I think I went too light on this shot, so I wound up missing the hole by a pretty huge margin. Which unfortunately means I had to take 3 shots, but that's fine. There's plenty of time to make up for this. I'd say courses 3 and 4, which we'll be playing in this video, are pretty high scoring, both in the original mode and in the extra mode. Let's see, on to hole 3 though. Oh yeah, I remember this hole. This is a pretty simple hole. It looks like there's, you know, it's pretty small, so you might think, oh, we can get a hole in one. The question is how. Because there's no way to use the high jump to get over the barrier now, so you have to do something a little fancier than just making a straight shot. And I kind of like that. So here's what we do. Find the absolute correct angle to hit the high jump and hit the barrier at the precise angle to shoot us towards the hole. Took a couple tries to figure this out, actually, because you have to hit like almost the corner of the barrier there, and you know that's barely enough to get into the hole too. Like you could see me bouncing around the rim before finally going in. But that was a good hole, I think. What is hole 4 again? Oh yeah, hole 4. Hole 4 is the easiest hole-in-one ever. Just, like, I don't even know what they were thinking here. They took out the Krakow and replaced it with a wheelie. This hole is actually, in my opinion, a total waste because it's easier than the original hole. You just have to get both squishies with one shot here and then wind up onto the conveyor belt. And then, you know, from there, do whatever you want. You use the wheel, you hit the stone, and then you use stone here to guarantee that you'll get in the hole. And luckily, you know, you should be in a position to kind of get sucked in by the hole here. I'm actually not sure how that works. The Kirby world has very strange physics, it seems. But yeah, easiest hole-in-one ever. I'm not sure why they did that. I'm not sure why they did this for hole 5 either. Hole 5 is now significantly worse in my opinion. Because now, I'm not even sure what they wanted you to do. They want me to... Like, how do you hit this first enemy and the freeze enemy? and, like, get over the water to where the needle enemy is. I didn't figure out a shot for this, but if you did manage to get both the freeze and needle enemy in the same shot, that'd be fine. It would save me a shot, but no, I gotta do this. And this isn't the best place to be for this shot either, but luckily I just have to hit the stone enemy and then the hole's over. Because after using stone, you just slide right into the hole, which seems to be a common theme for holes where you use stone. Interesting. Hole 6 is up next, and I'm trying to remember what it was like originally. Can't think of these things off the top of my... Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so this looks pretty straightforward. No need to make any weird turns or anything. Maybe the Wispy Woods will turn out to be helpful this time, too. So using the air vent, we hit that first enemy. And this is a lot more precise than it looks, actually. I should point out that this took a couple tries to figure out. Like, I had to get the exact angle for... Like, the exact angle... Well, not the exact angle, but my speed was very important. Because you will not always get into the hole like that. And it's possible that I could have just done it in reverse, like going for that high jump enemy first instead of turning it into the hole. Because at least then the hole wouldn't end up on a slope. But whatever. This hole, I'm not sure what they wanted to go for here either, because it looks like that you should hit that arrow and then hit the freeze enemy, and then you can just slide around like it's an ice skating thing. And you'll hit all the enemies eventually, but there's... Like, how do you get enough speed for this? I'm not really sure how you would get enough speed for this kind of thing. So yeah, now what? Do I just shoot here and hope? I suppose that's what we're gonna do. And it kind of looked like it was gonna work. I hit the first enemy, but I'm nowhere near... Well, I'm close, but I'm nowhere near getting into the hole there, so... I still get a gold medal, but I guess I'm just not seeing some of the solutions to some of these puzzles. This game really kind of makes its holes and ones into a kind of puzzle, which... Fortunately, the last hole has a UFO, so that makes up for everything the previous hole did to me. Unfortunately, it's not straight in front of me, so now, when I hit it, you'll notice that when I start turning the UFO, the angles are not quite what I'd like them to be. Getting the backspin there, so I have a lot of speed. And yeah, it's pretty hard to control the UFO when you're slanted like this. So I eventually wound up resolving to just do it in 2 shots, because the second shot should not be that difficult to pull off at all. There's only 2 enemies left. And here I allow myself to touch the warp because it changes your direction, so now I can much more easily see where the UFO is going to go like this. So that's pretty simple. That was a kind of an interesting course. It was kind of half good, half not so good, in my opinion. Hopefully we have enough, or got a low enough score for the gold medal. 16 seems like it's pushing it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the exact par for the gold medal. But I did get a gold medal, so that's good. I've seen that dance so many times now, it's starting to get a little tiring. Okay, on to Course 4. I really liked Course 4 in the regular mode, because you use Tornado a lot. And in the extra version, you don't use Tornado nearly as much. Instead, there's a lot of technical stuff going on in this course. It's going to be very, very cool, I think. Of course, my run-through of it was actually not that cool. But, you know, if I mess up, then that just means it's more entertaining for you, isn't it? So we start with a hole that's not too much different from the original. There's a high jump now, and part of me kind of feels that I should have tried to keep the high jump, well, I should have tried to keep the tornado, excuse me, for the next hole. But I got the tornado first, which unfortunately means that I'm going to be forced to take high jump into the next hole. And this course is not built for high jump, but I thought I could get a hole in one here. And for a moment there, it looked like I was going to. Almost, no, it didn't happen. It just wasn't feeling it. I don't feel like going into the hole. I'll go into a little bit to the right instead. It's probably what the game was thinking. And the reason I thought I needed to take Tornado into this hole is because, you know, this hole is still kind of themed around Tornado. But I see that I would have been forced to have high jump for hole 3. So I'm not too worried about it. Now that's really kind of one of the, I'm not sure whether to call it an issue or not. It's just a little harder to control what ability you have going into the next hole. Because, you know, if you want to avoid a certain ability, you have to turn that enemy into the hole somehow. It's just, I don't know. Anyhow, I remember doing something really weird for this shot, so let's see what we have here. Well, I guess I should point out that if you're airborne, because it looks like I'm setting up a curve shot, but you stop curving if you become airborne. So, I think I eventually gave up on the curve shot. Oh, that looks weird. I apologize for all this shot setup. I probably should have not done that. Nope, missed the second enemy. But don't worry, this next shot, I think it's insanely cool, so brace yourselves. We're gonna curve into the squishy enemy and then just go right into the hole, and this is amazing if it works. Bam! I'm in the hole. Unfortunately, that the style points aren't worth much because I still had to take 3 shots. Yeah, I think I was pushing the limit for this course too, with number of shots taken. Okay. This hole should go significantly better. Yes, I know exactly what to do. It's not that difficult. This hole isn't... It's not a lot different from the original. I guess so far I'd say that the extra courses have been kind of equal in difficulty. And sometimes they look just amazing. Okay, so this should be an easy 2-shot. Can't imagine what I could have done to get a hole in one. I think you can get all holes in ones on Extra 4, but I'm not sure. There's not a lot of videos of holes in ones on the extra courses in general. Now, this is one of the really cool holes, I think. It's kind of the same as the original, but this time there's no tornado, so there's no easy way to control where Kirby goes. Instead, you get a fireball. You're gonna love this, just watch. So there's the fireball, and now we can in fact hit all those enemies without tornadoing or anything. Hit the warp. Now, I don't have enough speed to get into the hole created by the stone enemy, so I have to fireball, and I'm going to loop over the entire course again just to get back to the hole. I don't know why I think that's amazing. It's probably just hilarious to loop over the hole several times, and I missed. Wow. That seems to be a theme with me, missing holes in ones like that. Just a little too much power there. Probably should rethink my investment in golf skills. Okay. Why don't I make up for that amazing failure with a kind of an interesting hole. I don't really like it that much, to be honest, because it kind of asks you for a dangerous shot. I mean, like, can you imagine if the hole ended up on a slope or something? Like, right before the drop for an out-of-bounds thing? Well, that's what's gonna happen right now. This is by far the most risky shot I've ever taken so far in this Let's Play. So naturally it should succeed. Yes, I guess if you wanted to play safe, you would use Needle to stop yourself after hitting the Needle enemy. But I don't need to. Wow, did you see that? That was dangerous. He almost bounced off the hole, but he decided to just plop back in. Hole 6. I remember nothing about playing Extra Course 4 Hole 6, so... the Gordos are all gone, which is kind of a welcome change. The spikes are still there, but, you know, they're gonna keep the spikes. I think we can look forward to some fireball action, which would be pretty cool. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, now I remember. That was actually pretty cool. But now we have to hit one of these enemies and then get into the hole, which is not going to be that difficult. Just as long as we have enough power to get there. Okay, good. Probably the most optimal way to handle that hole. Hole 7, well, I kinda have an idea about how to get a hole-in-one here, but, you know, after that failure on the 4th hole, I've kinda resigned myself to, like, you know, forget about ever getting a hole-in-one ever again, because I keep missing it by hitting the rim of the hole. I mean, I thought it was a good idea. Hit those two enemies with a curved shot, hit the warp, and then you're on a clear path for the hole, but why did I boost there? Probably because I wanted to think about, like, bouncing over the hole, hitting the barrier, and then coming back in, but it wound up being another 2-shot. You know what? I've gone too long without a hole-in-one. I think it's time we get one. Probably because I'm coming up on the limit for the gold medal. So it's a good thing that the final hole is completely easy. Yeah. It's got a UFO there, with a high jump enemy right behind it. So it's pretty obvious what you have to do. Just hit the high jump, hit the UFO, and then you know, it's a completely straight shot too. That's kind of a disappointing finale for Extra Course 4. Well, the good news is Extra Courses 5 and 6 are going to be just awesome. I had a lot of fun with 6 in particular. Anyhow, back to the present. It's also kind of unfortunate that they waited until the last hole to give me my UFO. I want an entire course full of nothing but UFOs. Okay, that would probably be the worst course ever. Of course, with the tools available, I suppose I should try that myself. Even though I just said it would be the worst thing ever. I don't know. That's Extra Course 4 done. It was a good course, I think. Just wish I hadn't flubbed so many potential holes-in-ones. Gold medal, please. Thank you. Almost thought I hadn't gotten it for a moment there. So next up will be Extra Courses 5 and 6. Suppose they'll be a little bit more interesting.